So we are reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 7th chapter, text number 18. Udaram sarva evaite jnani tu atmaiva me matam astita sa hi yuktatma mam evanutamam gatim udara sarva evaite jnanitvatmaiva me matam astita sahayuktatma mam evanutamam gatim udaram magnanimous sarve all eva certainly ete these jnani one who is in knowledge to but atma eva just like myself me my matam opinion asthita situated sa he certainly yukta atma engage in devotional service mam in me eva certainly anuttamam the highest gatim destination. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal, purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki. It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous, because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection they ask the Lord for some material benefit, and when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of His devotees and cannot be separated from Him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord says, Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridayam tvaham mad anyate jananti naham tebyo managapi. The devotees are always in my heart and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and a pure devotee. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. Om jnana timidandasya jnanan janasalakaya chaksoran mritam yanam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanyamanovistam sthapitam yena bhutale Sayam Rupagadhamayam Dadati Sabadantigam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yata Padakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shedopam sagrajatam sahagana raganatanvitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam savadutam parijanasatam Krishna chaitanya devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Se Vishaganvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Ganta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Brijabano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Udara Sarvaivaite Jnani Tatma Eva Me Matam Astita Sahi Yuktatma Mam Evanu Tamam Gadim. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service is sure to attain me the highest and most perfect goal. Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and so he was explaining that Chaturvidha bhajante mam janasukritam Arjuna, that 4 kinds of people they worship me, they render service, bhajante mam, unto me. The distressed, the one who is desiring wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. And then so he was explaining, but those who is in full knowledge of me, he's the best of all of them. He's very dear to me, and I am very dear to him. So here in this verse he's explaining that all these devotees, they are udara, magnanimous souls. And Prabhupada is explaining it, they are Mahatmas, great souls. Anyone who is surrendering to Krishna, approaching Krishna in the material world, so he's considered to be a great soul. Of course, by nature, everyone is the eternal servant of Krishna, Jivera Sopoya Krishnera Nityadas. But in the material world, the majority of the jivas, of the living entities, they are in conditioned state, forgetful of their eternal nature. But it is there, but it is covered, it is dormant. But it is the desire of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, that these souls, the conditioned souls, who are since time immemorial conditioned, that they may be engaged in devotional service. And therefore he himself is coming and is giving this transcendental knowledge, or his different expansions, avatars are coming to give the same knowledge, or he sends his representatives, the pure devotees, his eternal associates, or also through the devotees who have, by the process of devotional service, become perfect. They will also try to do this most auspicious service of giving, or most important service of giving this knowledge to others. So, therefore he is saying here that one who is situated in knowledge of me is just like my own self. So that means he's actually properly situated. So Krishna Sarup is there eternally. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Is Parameshwar, the Supreme Controller, always. Satchidananda Vigraha. So his Vigraha is his form. So that is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, in completeness. And the pure devotees, they are also situated in their Sarup, in their constitutional position, as servants of the Lord. And they are engaged in the transcendental loving service, in transcendental loving exchange. Satchidananda Sarup. They are situated in their Sarup, in their spiritual existence, in relationship, in a personal relationship with Krishna. And their existence is also eternal and full of bliss, and they are in full knowledge. The Krishna is the Supreme Lord, or Krishna is the Lord of my life. And so the exchange is completely transcendental. As explained here in the verse, so they are engaged in a transcendental service. And by doing that, by being engaged, those who are properly situated in this knowledge, and they will attain Anuttamam Gatim. Gati means the destination, the goal. Uttamam, the highest. Uttam, so that means the highest. So this is the highest goal, is to go to the spiritual abode, to go to the spiritual world, to Krishna's abode, and there be engaged in the service, in loving exchange with Krishna. And so Prabhupada is explaining that actually all the devotees, of course also in this verse Krishna himself is saying all of them are magnanimous. And Prabhupada is repeating that all the devotees are dear to the Lord. And even actually the conditioned souls who are not engaged in devotional service, and so Krishna loves all of them, even though they may not be engaged in devotional service. Just like a father, he loves all his children. But if a child is not obedient or is going away, leaving the house, trying to be independent, the father still loves him, but at the same time, he's feeling sad also that why he's leaving me. So similarly, Krishna, he loves all the jivas, because they're all his part and parcels, and they belong to him. But if one is not engaged in devotional service, then he's not properly situated. And Krishna is trying to bring them to the devotional line, himself or through his devotees. So, but of those who are engaged in devotional service, again there he loves all of them. But if one is engaged in pure devotional service without any motive, anyabilashita shunyam jnana karma navritam anukulina krishna nushilanam bhakti-yoga, Krishna nushilanam, who does devotional service as Krishna likes, anyabilashita shunyam, he has no desire other than he wants to please Krishna, for Krishna's satisfaction, as Krishna likes, to please Krishna's senses, Krishnendriya priti, not for his own sense gratification. So they are most dear to Krishna. Others who may still have material desires and they want something in return from their devotional service, so Krishna also loves them. But because these devotees, they want something in return, and they are not fully surrendered. So therefore Krishna, he cannot fully give himself to these devotees also. Because they are still attached to this material world, to sense gratification. Therefore the exchange is not perfect and complete. From Krishna's side always, Krishna is trying to give himself to his devotees. But if the devotees are not so much interested, then what he can do? What he can do? He just has to wait and hoping. He's hoping that they will give up their material desires and attachments and fully take shelter of him and reciprocate with him fully. So in the conditioned state it is not easy to see the Lord, to have an exchange with the Lord. So therefore we have to approach the spiritual master, and then he will help us. And the spiritual master is engaging the disciples in the service of the Lord in the temple, the Archa Vigraha. So the Archa Vigraha is there to accept the service of the devotees. And then he's reciprocating with them. And if we try to cultivate this relationship with Krishna, then we can get so much transcendental love, so much transcendental loving exchange is there with Krishna. And ultimately, the devotees who advanced, as Prabhupada has explained, as it is natural, and that so much so that Krishna will talk to us and we can talk to Krishna. But first we have to endeavor to have this relationship with Krishna. Loving relationship, intimate relationship, and serve him nicely, according to the instructions of the spiritual master, because in the conditioned state, the conditioned soul, he does not know what Krishna likes. So the spiritual master will tell him what Krishna likes, and what we should do, how we can serve him. And when we do this, then there will be an exchange. So much so that one day, so we may be able to talk. Of course, even now we can talk, but in the conditioned state, maybe we cannot hear Krishna. But to the advanced devotees, he will talk and he can hear Krishna. So, loving exchange is there. So gradually we have to see that we can advance more and more in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means being conscious of Krishna all the time. So we have to cultivate that we can remember Krishna more and more. Right from the early morning, as soon as one is getting up, one should immediately remember the spiritual master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because without the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, we can never approach Krishna in the age of Kali. We cannot fully have this exchange with Krishna, loving exchange, without the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So therefore we pray immediately in the morning to Guru, Gauranga, and then Krishna. And then after that, even while taking bath, so the devotees, the brahmanas actually, you can see, they will chant one mantra, Om Appavitra Pavitra Va Sarva Vastam Garopi Va Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Bhyantara Suchihi. That we should try to remember Krishna. And then we become pure inside and outside. And then we go to the temple, we see the deities, we glorify the deities. And then we may also, so of course, besides chanting the holy names, which is the greatest glorification, which is the Yuga Dharma, chanting the Maha Mantra, but then there are some selected prayers which you may also recite in front of the deities. Especially the prayers of the great souls, and then Krishna will appreciate. And usually in this prayer, so the wonderful qualities of Krishna are revealed. And it's wonderful, also even the pastimes with his devotees, they are revealed. So in this way, so we have to practice, therefore every day we have to go to the temple to take darshan. For the residents in the temple, in the ashram, every day they go to the temple. At home, the householders, they may also come to the temple, but they may also have deities at home. So that always Krishna is there in the life. And then one is doing one's duty, but still one has to try to remember Krishna. And therefore in one time Prabhupada also said devotees should go for morning program and then noontime attend the Rajbhog Artik, and then evening time again going to the temple and seeing the deities. Even you can see in Vrindavan, so many of the shopkeepers, although now they may wear pants and shirt, but most of them they are still devotees. And many of them, so of course now there was a lockdown, so the temples were closed, but otherwise they go to the temple in the morning. And then they take a little breakfast and then they go to the shop. And again in the evening they go home, take a bath, and then they take darshan and then they come home and they eat something little. And so in this way, so the devotee has to practice, trying to see Krishna always, try to remember Krishna, try to hear about Krishna, speak about Krishna. And Krishna's associates, Krishna's pastimes. And so therefore then, so that is for anyone, possible for anyone. Of course some are more Brahmanically inclined, so they may have more knowledge. But knowledge is not everything, but there should be realization also. And there should be love, especially priti purvak murti seva. And knowledge doesn't just mean knowing shlokas, knowing the philosophy, but knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. That is the highest knowledge. And one may not be so much knowing the scriptures maybe, but if he knows that Krishna is Supreme Lord, then he has perfect knowledge. He has true knowledge. Especially if he's then engaged in the service of the Lord with love. Then he has vigyan, he has realized knowledge. Not that just Krishna is God. That is all right, but then you have to serve God because we are the servants of God. So those who are then serving Krishna constantly, with some feelings, with some love, some affection, priti purvak, then so they are actually properly situated. And then they will get wonderful realizations in loving exchange with Krishna. So then they are truly situated, although they may be very simple devotees. Just doing some simple seva, cleaning the temple even. So Krishna is bhava grahi janat, and is accepting the bhav, the love, the mood of the devotee. And here at the end Prabhupada is explaining, and Krishna has explained, of course, and in the previous verse also, that so I'm very dear to him and he's dear to me. So Krishna is very dear, he's prananath for his devotee, he's the Lord of the life of the devotee. Prananath, the pran, these are the life airs. The Lord of, and the Atma, the soul, is situated in the floating in the life airs in the body. So of course the soul is most subtle, it's completely separate from the gross and subtle material body, ultimately nothing to do with this material world, the soul. But in this material world, so the soul is situated in the heart region, of the embodied being, and it is mentioned floating actually in the life airs, the prana vayu. So the life air is there, and different airs are there. 5 major and 5 minor. Prana vayu, apana vayu, and so on. So going up, going down. So the soul is situated there. And so the jiva, when he's engaged in the service of the Lord, of course the consciousness is spread then throughout the body. And by nature, of course, the Satchidananda Swarup is there, and this transcendental ego, I am the servant of Krishna. That is the real ego. False ego is when one is identifying with his body and one's situation. Of course, being in the material world, we have to identify to some extent with this material world, with the material body. We have to acknowledge that I am man and I have to do some service. But at the same time, the devotee knows actually I'm not a man or a woman or this or that, but I'm a spirit soul. But at the same time, in order to act in this world, so some identification has to be there, that is natural. And therefore we have to use the, of course, should be transcendental intelligence. And for that we have to pray for the transcendental intelligence. And we hear from the spiritual master, we read the scriptures, then we have the transcendental knowledge, we have the transcendental intelligence there, by which we will understand what to do and what not to do. So with this, then we have to make we have to have some discrimination, vivek, and then understand what to do and what not to do. Although we are spirit souls and we are all equal, and we don't make distinctions, and we respect all the other souls, and we should try to see the Atma, and we should try to see the Lord in everyone's heart. But then we have to see the bodies there, and we have to act to some extent on this platform also. And for example, if so, of course here in the city there are no wild animals, but if you go to the forest, still some wild animals may be there. And then you're not going to embrace a tiger and seeing, oh, is also jiva, is also servant of the Lord, which is true, but is in the form of a tiger, and you have to be careful. Similarly, men and women, they should not mingle together unless they're married, then they may be together, otherwise there has to be some, of course, still we respect the women and we have dealing with women also, but we have to be careful. So has to be also some restriction there in regards to dealing with women. And so different restrictions are there, or there's a moral conduct there. And so we have to use the intelligence. And then, so for example, we love everyone, and so we love our parents and we embrace them and the family members, but we cannot just embrace other persons if we don't know them well. Especially if one is in the body of a man, he cannot just say, oh, you're a spirit soul, and then another jiva is there in a woman body, you cannot just embrace, it is not proper. So we have to use the intelligence, and so we have to, so different understandings are there, different levels of consciousness are there, and so we have to act always according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and basically I always try to be engaged in the loving service of the Lord, in loving exchange, But then in the material world, so we have to also act according to Varnashram, that is important. So the point was about the loving exchange. So the jiva is there, situated in the heart, and Krishna is there, situated in one's heart also. And then, so here specifically, so it is mentioned that so Krishna is dear to devotee and the devotee is dear to Krishna. And also it is mentioned here, Prabhupada is quoting from the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto, is actually regarding Ambarish Maharaj, and who is a great devotee. He was the emperor, the king of the kings. But he was very much devoted. He was engaged in devotional service. He was worshipping the deities also, himself. Although he was busy as the emperor, but still he was taking out time and every day worshipping the deities himself. And not having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 servants. Doing everything himself. Also explaining, so then Krishna was explaining the Supreme Lord Vishnu, or Krishna explaining that Sadhavo Hridayam Mayam, the devotees are always in my heart. Sadhanam Hridayam Tvaham, and I'm always in the heart of my devotees. So because the devotees are thinking about Krishna, always. So Krishna is in the heart of the devotee also. They can see Krishna. Krishna is in the heart, and because they are thinking about Krishna, so Krishna will manifest. If one is not thinking about the heart, although Krishna is about Krishna in the heart, so Krishna will not manifest. Although he's there. But if one is thinking about material things, then Krishna will not manifest. But the advanced devotees, they are thinking about Krishna, and Krishna will manifest. So it's there in the heart of the devotee. And because they are always thinking about Krishna, so Krishna is thinking about them. It is natural. And so therefore the devotees are in the heart of Krishna. Those who are dear to him, those who are fully engaged with body, mind and words in the service of the Lord, they are in the heart of Krishna. So they are properly situated. Therefore he is also saying they are just like my own self. Because they are in the heart of Krishna. But still it doesn't mean they are merging in Krishna. They are one with Krishna. There is always difference there. But they are in Krishna and Krishna is in them. And they are completely transcendental, in loving exchange there. So that is actually the highest situation. And that is already possible even in this material world. Iha yasye haryadasya karmana marasagira nikara shavavasastu jivan mukta sauchate. So one is always engaged in the service of the Lord with body, mind and words. Even in this material world, still he is considered to be liberated. Because he is always with Krishna. And Krishna is transcendental. He is never affected by the material world. So if one is then always with Krishna, then one is liberated. One is with Krishna, one is then in the transcendental abode. Transcendental situation. Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness, Param Padam, so that is the highest destination, Param Gatim, Anuttamam Gatim, to be on the transcendental plane, above this material world, beyond this material world, beyond the three modes of material nature, transcendently situated. So that state is also known as Mathura. So Mathura is the holy dham of the Lord. So if one is in the transcendental consciousness, then one is in the transcendental abode of the Lord. And then one can see the Lord, one can serve the Lord, there is a loving exchange. Vasudevam, that platform is also known as Vasudev. So Vasudev is the father of Krishna. Vasudev Krishna, the son of Vasudev. Of course that is in Mathura. So that is the transcendental plane consciousness. So one has to come to that stage. And then after giving that body, so then one will go to the abode of the Lord. Even in this body actually, if one is transcendently situated, one is with Krishna. One is properly situated in the transcendental state, realm. So therefore the devotees, the pure devotees, they're always in Vrindavan, even wherever they may be. They're above this material world, the modes of material nature. They're properly situated. They're with Krishna. Krishna is with them, transcendently situated. So even in this material world it is possible. So one has to try to come to that position. And so that is the devotee who is properly situated in transcendental knowledge. But according, of course, to the capacity, different capacities are there. Just like you may have different container. One container, so for holding some water or some milk, you have a 1 liter, or you have a 2 liter, you have a 3 liter container, and you can put water. So you have 1 liter, 2 liter, or 3 liters water. So the water, of course, we want pure water. So the water is there. So one who has 1 liter, that is fine, it is good water, pure. And one who has a 2 liter container, so he has the same water, but just a little more quantity of water is there. One has 5 liter container with water, same water is there. So some persons, they may have some more knowledge regarding Krishna, regarding his wonderful pastimes, activities, regarding the process of devotional service. And somebody may have a little less knowledge, but if the intention is pure, then he's also properly situated in knowledge and is very dear to Krishna. Because in this world, so different bodies may be there. But most important is actually the purity. Then one has to be pure, pure motive, free from all material desires. And then one can help others also. Kippa vipra kibanasi surakainai Krishna tattva vite sei gurahai. So one be a vipra, one may be a vipra. Vipra means a brahmana. But he may be even a shudra, externally speaking, not very educated. But Krishna vita tattva. Kippa vipra kiba nyasi surakainai. Or you may be nyasi sannyasi. Surakainai, or you may be a shudra. Yei Krishna Tattva Veta. One who knows Krishna Tattva, Veta means to know Krishna Tattva. Sei Guru Hai, he becomes a spiritual master. So Krishna Tattva, what is Krishna Tattva? Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's residing in the spiritual realm. And one has knowledge of the spiritual realm, and then the material realm is there. But even if one is not very educated, so to say, but if he knows about Krishna, if he has realized Krishna, if he can see Krishna, if he has love for Krishna, then he can help others also. He can give love to others. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, one who gives the knowledge to others is most dear to me. So knowledge is important. But most important is bhakti, devotional service, priti, love for Krishna. But at the same time, especially for those who are practicing, then they have to try to become detached. Some vairagya should be there. Vairagya means detachment from the material world. And then jnana has to be there, some knowledge about Krishna, about the transcendental realm, about devotional service, how to advance. But always we have to also be engaged in devotional service. Otherwise, just to have knowledge is not sufficient. And one can actually not be truly renounced if he's not serving Krishna. Vairagya also So maybe if in Sanskrit language, so Sanskrit is very rich language, and if you break down a word, you can have so many meanings also. So Vairagya also may be broken down as Vishesh Rag. Rag means transcendental. Rag, of course, there's a material sentiments which may be there, attractions that may also be a kind of rag, but then there's transcendental attachment, transcendental love, transcendental feelings, and that is actually Vishesh. So by having transcendental feelings for Krishna, we can give up the material feelings, the material emotions. If you are attached to Krishna, you can give up material attachment. So then in this way, then actually we are properly situated. And as Krishna also says in Bhagavad-Gita, that to give up the lower taste is only possible if you have a higher taste. When you have a higher taste, then you can give up a lower taste. So we should try to be engaged always in devotional activities so that we can also, and it is natural if we engage in devotional activities that we will feel transcendental bliss. Because Krishna is the source of all transcendental bliss. And if we serve Him, then we'll be blissful. Of course, difficulties are always there in life. But by Krishna's mercy, if we surrender to Him despite all difficulties, and then we can overcome all difficulties. And then we can be blissful. But different emotions are there. But whatever the situation is in the material world, so we just have to have Krishna always in the center. And then the consciousness becomes spiritualized, and the senses, all the senses also become spiritualized. And then, so in this way, so that is actually the highest situation if one is fully absorbed in thinking about Krishna, in speaking about Krishna, in serving Krishna with all the senses. And then, so then we become very dear to Krishna. And then that is always increasing. So in this relationship with Krishna, so that is never ending. In the material world, all the relationships are temporary. But with Krishna, so the eternal relationship is there. And then of course the knowledge is always increasing if you engage in devotional service. And but what is even more important, of course, the transcendental bliss which is there by serving Krishna, that is ever increasing. And there is no limit to that. Krishna is unlimited. So the more we engage in devotional service, the more we will feel the reciprocation, the more we will feel transcendental happiness, and that is ever increasing. And that is that is most relishable, most wonderful. So we have to try to be properly situated on the transcendental platform, free from the modes of material nature, and then so then we become very dear to Krishna, and then Krishna will manifest in our heart. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you for that wonderful class. So, if my relationship with Krishna is partially.
Yes, if the relationship is partial with Krishna, yes.
Partially completed. So, will you still call it as transcendental or material?
If it is only partial, if it is still transcendental, if it is material.
If it is partially completed, will you still call it material relationship or transcendental relationship?
Yes, if it is partial, actually it is partial. Yeah, surrender is there. If you can still say the spiritual relationship, or if it is material. Yeah, interesting question, yes. And so basically the relationship with Krishna is always spiritual. And that we have to understand. That is the real relationship with Krishna, is a spiritual relationship. But in the conditioned state, when the jiva is still attached to this material world, then his surrender is partial. So his love is also not complete. His faith is also not. That means it is not completely ripe or strong. So the relationship at that time, still by nature the relationship is spiritual. It is always spiritual with Krishna. But when the living entity is still under the modes of material nature, so then you may say that the relationship is not completely pure. But it is spiritual, because the relationship with Krishna can only be spiritual. There cannot be a material relationship with Krishna. It is not possible, because Krishna is transcendental, and ultimately you cannot approach Krishna if you are not transcendently situated. Therefore those who are worshipping the deities, although they have the knowledge, but still every time they go on the altar they do achman for purification. They chant some mantras, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Param Sada Pashyanti Surya or Bhuta Shuddhi, saying I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. But by misfortune I've been identifying with this material body, I've been wandering in cycle of birth and death since time immemorial. Now by some good fortune, by the mercy of my spiritual master, I know that I am an infinitesimal spiritual being completely apart from gross and subtle body. Now by the mercy of my spiritual master, I have obtained the good fortune of being able to serve his lotus feet as well as his lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha and Krishna. So every day the pujari will say that, because Maya is there, and one cannot immediately become completely transcendental. It is not possible. It takes time. So sometimes the practicing devotee is little transcendental, then again is on the modes of material nature. For example, the Uttam Adhikari, Uttam Vaishnav, is always transcendently situated. And then the Madhyam Adhikari is sometimes transcendental, sometimes in the mode of material nature. The Kanishta is mostly still under modes of material nature. And sometimes it's a little bit above the modes, but mostly is in the modes of material nature. But he's trying to serve Krishna, and to some extent he's doing something. It is like somebody is doing some apprenticeship for trying to become whatever. I mean, that is there, and, at least in the West it was like this. I'm sure it is still now, that one has to go to for some apprenticeship in any company if one wants to become a recognized worker in the company. Then one has to do apprenticeship and one has to learn how to do the different things, and then he will see, and if he's doing well, then he will be accepted as full-time employee. So similarly, so the beginning devotee, Kanishtadikari, who is also known as Prakrita Bhakta, materialistic devotee, is engaged in devotional service, and so is practicing. Is not really completely recognized. Krishna sees, oh yeah, he's trying, and he's doing something, but it is not the real thing, what he's doing. It is just practicing. And but the relationship with Krishna, it can only be spiritual. But he's not yet properly situated, and therefore is not really in relationship with Krishna. Although the relationship is there, but it is still a kind of dormant, because he doesn't even have realized he's not this body. What to speak of having realized his sarup, his form? So he's not yet properly situated. He's on the material platform still, but the relationship with Krishna is there, eternal, and you can only have a real relationship with Krishna when you're transcendently situated. And Krishna will always appreciate, even if one is on the material platform, if you are offering a flower to Krishna, Krishna will see, oh, he's offering me a flower, wonderful. But you cannot talk to Krishna and you cannot hear Krishna. Or you can talk, but still Krishna will not yet talk to you. He may talk to you, but you cannot hear it. because you are not yet properly situated on the transcendental plane. So therefore we cannot say that the relationship is material, because ultimately it is not possible to have a material relationship with Krishna. It's not possible, because he's transcendently situated always. And in order to properly approach him, you must be also transcendently situated. But it is a kind of relationship, but we better to say it is not pure, the relationship. Yes, it is tainted. You may say materially tainted from the side of the devotee who is not yet advanced. So he's a materialistic devotee, so his relationship is still with Krishna by nature, because as soul, so the eternal relationship is there, which is spiritual, but it is not yet really established, the relationship, because one is still on the material platform, so one has to try to become qualified. And so one is simply practicing now to be properly situated, to be engaged in the relationship with Krishna. Of course, these are just some explanation with words, and so different persons, they may have maybe some different approach, how they want to term it, but ultimately the relationship with Krishna can only be spiritual. There's no material relationship, not possible with Krishna. But the devotee was conditioned, his material consciousness is still there, he may be serving Krishna, but it is not pure service. It's not anyabhilashita shunyam, not free from any desires, material desires. So therefore, the exchange with Krishna is also not perfect. It is not accomplished, and so the relationship which is there, it is not complete. But you cannot really, as far as I'm concerned, you cannot say it is a material relationship, because Krishna is always transcendental, and it doesn't entertain any this kind of relationship, because it's completely transcendental. For example, even Kubja, the example is there of Kubja, when he went to Mathura, and when he was called by Kamsa, who had sent Akru to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, and he wanted to kill Krishna. And so as they were going there, and then so different persons, they were going to entering Mathura, and then so some clothes were there, and they wanted to get some clothes, and so the person didn't want to give the cloth, because he was thinking this is only for Kamsa, and Krishna was not happy, of course, and then, well, he met his end, that person. So, but then others, they had more they were ready to offer something to Krishna, and Krishna appreciated. So Kubja also. So, but she had some material desire still, and she wanted to, so she wanted to satisfy her senses. But she approached Krishna, so, and she was also fortunate. At that time, Krishna beginning said, not now, I cannot go and see you now, but later. And then he went to see her also, but then she became purified in existence. But still, in the beginning, so she had some material desires, and wanted to materially enjoy also, but Krishna didn't entertain that, because that is not, Krishna will never do that. So the relationship with Krishna is only possible when one is transcendently situated, then the relationship is perfect and complete. If one is not properly situated on transcendental plane, then ultimately one cannot embrace Krishna. Only the pure devotee. Now, like Kubja, she could not embrace Krishna. It was not possible, because she was not properly situated, but still there was some, then later on she was more purified and there was some exchange there. But only those who are completely pure, they can then have this intimate relationship with Krishna, most intimate. Like the friends of Krishna, they are embracing Krishna. Maria Yashoda, she is embracing Krishna because they are completely pure. The gopis are embracing Krishna. Even the cows and the calves in Golok, they are pure. And Krishna is embracing them. So, in order to have the complete relationship with Krishna, one has to be transcendentally situated. And then there is the relationship, the full loving exchange with Krishna. And but if one is on the material plane, material desires are there, and then we cannot really say it is a material relationship, because it is not really possible to have a material relationship with Krishna. It's not possible, because Krishna is always transcendental. It doesn't attain any material relationship. He will recognize the devotee, and to some extent he will accept what the devotee is offering, but in order to have this wonderful relationship with Krishna, one has to become transcendental. Then only the real relationship is there. Otherwise it is, something is there, but it is not really a relationship yet. Although by nature we have a relationship with Krishna, but it is dormant. It is not revealed, it is dormant. If one is on the material plane and not properly situated in transcendental knowledge, not having full knowledge and understanding, or if one is not pure, then the relationship is not really there, substantial. If one is on the material plane, under the modes of material nature, then Krishna will acknowledge, okay, he's trying to advance, he's trying to come to the standard, but he's not yet there. So therefore the relationship is there to some extent, and to some extent there's an exchange. Krishna is always pure and transcendental, but the conditioned soul, so he's struggling and so he's still material desires, material consciousness. So he's offering something, Krishna is accepting, and so reciprocating also. And Krishna is pure, but from the devotee side, because he's not pure, so therefore the relationship is not completely accomplished and not possible, because he's still under modes of material nature. So therefore, as far as I'm concerned, you cannot say a material relationship with Krishna. It's not possible. You can only have a spiritual relationship with Krishna. Is that all right? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Looking for happiness is the essence of our life, right?
What? Looking for happiness?
Happiness is the essence of our life.
Is the essence of our life. No, the essence of life is not to find happiness. Essence of life is to please Krishna, so that Krishna is satisfied. The devotee does not want to be happy, I want to be happy. No, the devotee's mood is, the essence of life is wanting to serve Krishna. Anandamaya Bhyasat then means to be transcendently situated in transcendental bliss. Yes. So that is the highest stage, but the devotee on that stage is not desiring to be happy, but is only wanting to serve Krishna. And because of this, he will be having the loving exchange with Krishna. And then he will have so much transcendental bliss. But he's not thinking, okay, I have to be blissful. So we should not think, let me be happy, that is the highest. No. Let Krishna be happy. Let Krishna be satisfied. Let me satisfy Krishna. Let Krishna be happy. Even if I have to go to hell, no problem. But Krishna should be happy. Just like one time Krishna had headache. He was in Dwarka. Narada Muni came. Oh, what happened, Krishna? He was holding his head. I have a headache. Hoi, hoi. Of course, Krishna is transcendental, but still, so he had some headache. And then, what to do? Narada is asking. Well, if you give me the dust of the lotus feet, the dust of the feet of the devotees, then I can put that on my head, on my whole body, and then I will be relieved of my headache. Narada Muni is thinking, he's not thinking, let me just give the dust of my feet. Or he's the Lord Bhagavan. So to whom shall I go and get the dust? From whom shall I get the dust? And he will let me ask the queens, his dear wives. And they are very dear to him. So I can ask them, and I'm sure they are always ready to serve Krishna. So he went to Rukmini, Satyabhama, the queens. Oh, I went to see Krishna's headache. Oh, Krishna's headache, what we can do? Krishna is saying, give me the dust of my devotees' feet. And then I can put that on my head, I will be relieved. And the queens are saying, no, he's Bhagavan, he's our Swami, he's our Lord. We cannot give the dust of our feet. That is not proper. We'll go to hell. And Narada also thinking, right, so what to do? He was also not ready. And then he went to Braj. And then, so he saw the gopis there and they asked about Krishna. And he said, his headache. Oh, Krishna's headache. And what can we do for him? Then he was saying that Krishna is saying that if I can get the dust of my devotees' feet and I can put that on my head, then my head will be fine. I will be relieved of headache. Oh yes, sure, we can do that. They were taking the dust from the feet, they spread out the cloth, put all the dust in the cloth. Here you go. Narada Muni was astonished. But you're not afraid? He's a most exalted personality. And if you give the dust of your feet, you may go to hell, no? If you do that on Krishna's side, no problem, we have to go to hell. But we want Krishna to be relieved. So this is the mood of the most exalted devotees. They will do anything for Krishna's happiness, and they are not thinking about their own happiness. So, and then when you do that, then there's so much reciprocation from Krishna, and then you will be happy. But if you're thinking about your own happiness, I have to be happy, that is the goal of life. No, it is not the goal of life. The goal of life is to give happiness to Krishna, to see that Krishna is happy, Krishna is satisfied. Even if I'm not satisfied. That also Mahaprabhu has told, Ashlishavapada radam pinashtuma madashanama hatam karutava yathatada vavitato lampado maprananatastu sevanaparaha. So the 8th verse of the Shikshashtakam by Mahaprabhu, that so Krishna may embrace me, or he may be broken-hearted by not being present before me. He may trample on me. He may do whatever he wants. He's a debauchee, though he's a debauchee, going to other gopis, but still he's always the Lord of my life. Always. He may do whatever he wants. When Krishna is going to other gopis, Radharani, she's not happy, but still, she will never give up Krishna. Okay, Krishna went there, okay, so he's happy. Of course, transcendental emotions are there in Braj, which are very high, but still basically, so they are ready to do anything for Krishna. They just want to see that Krishna is happy. They don't care for their own happiness. So that is the highest, simply wanting to see that Krishna is happy. Krishna is satisfied. Do everything for Krishna's pleasure. That is the highest aspiration. To do that, as Srimati Radharani is doing, the gopis are doing, the Brijabasis are doing. Only thinking about Krishna, not their own pleasure. So that is the highest aspiration, not to be happy. Okay? But by doing this, by having this mood, we will get the highest form of transcendental happiness. And that is Anandamaya Bhyasat. But if you have the desire, let me be happy, let me have this Anand. No, that is not proper. But let me go and serve Krishna. We don't go to the temple, of course, still we want to see Krishna, but rather we should go to the temple to serve Krishna, so that Krishna sees us. We should not be the enjoyer. Let me enjoy and sing Krishna. Let me take prasad. Me. Aham mameti, I and mine. No. Tavai vasmi. I'm yours. I belong to you, Krishna. I belong to you, Srimati Radharani. So that is the mood. And always there, in the mood of serving, pleasing Radha and Krishna. So that is the mood. Seva vritti, seva bhav has to be there. Always wanting to serve, giving pleasure to Krishna, Mahaprabhu, the spiritual master, the devotees, help others. That is the mood, so that everyone can be happy. So when you have this seva bhav, then ultimately, then Krishna will be satisfied and then you will be satisfied. But if you're thinking about your pleasure first, then you cannot be fully happy. It's not possible. So the highest aspiration is always wanting to serve. And pleasing Guru Gauranga, Srimati Radharani Krishna. That is our aspiration. Radha Dasyam, serving Srimati Radharani, the greatest of the devotees of Krishna. And when you serve Radharani, and when she's engaging you in the service of Krishna, then you will feel that satisfaction. Okay? All right. Hare Krishna.